So I'm back today. Again, delighted to have yet another absolutely brilliant member of the Thai boxing community that most people will know. One championship fighter, Tanko, world champion. But I'm letting him tell you yourself. Panicos Yusuf. Hi, mate.
Hello.
How you doing?
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on, dude.
Yeah.
We've just been having a little chat about lockdown, haven't we, before you came on, and we've got some we've got daughters of similar ages, and we've been enjoying the break, haven't we? To be honest, a forced break. If we have to admit it, we do. We've been having quite a nice time with our families, from what I can gather. So funny, Cos. Tell us about your fight record, your titles and such like.
So fight record, I'm never ever sure really. It's just always an estimate that I kind of go off.
Yeah.
At some point I just stopped counting. But I've had maybe I'd say about 47, 48 pro fights. And then, but before that, I used to fight amateur during the amateur championships when I represented Cyprus. So probably had about maybe 20, 25 amateur fights before that. So yeah, and in that time I've fought for a few world titles, 3 world titles which I won, and then a couple of Europeans. I mean, the world titles to me don't really mean much at the time. The first one is great and stuff, but I've fought harder opponents without a title, you know what I mean, which stick in my mind more than the title fights. And an 8-man tournament in Ireland that I fought at a slightly heavier weight division. That was back in 2013, I think it was, on Martin Horgan's show. That was probably one of the hardest nights of my life. But then
it was an 8-man tournament, so you'll have done 4 fights. Sorry?
3 fights.
3 fights. Sorry, yeah, 3 fights.
It was in at the time I was fighting the 61.5. That was my weight category, and I jumped in to fight at 65. 66. I think it was 66 or 65.
Oh, that's a big difference, isn't it?
So yeah, so I was the smallest guy there. I actually weighed in with my trousers and shoes on.
Oh. No, that's unusual.
Yeah, but I won, but it was hard. It was
you
more
won,
like,
so you won.
I mean, run.
this is and you're this is something that, again, not going straight into water cutting or weight cutting or anything like that, but that's you beat guys that are 5 kilos heavier than you. So for a title, you beat 3 guys 5 kilos heavier, one after the other in a tournament. Yeah. You have to beat whoever's put in front of you, don't you? That's the you know, whether they're a bit heavier, a bit lighter, whatever. You've got to just go out there and beat. How did that work? Were they all on the same night, the fights, or did you have a break?
Yeah, they were all on the same evening. Probably about an hour and a bit in between.
How do you feel on the last fight then? Because you must be incredibly sore. Does the adrenaline stay the entire time, or after you've done your first fight, does the adrenaline go and then you feel the pain and then it comes back?
Oh yeah, no. I was back in the changing rooms, and I was shaking. I was like freezing. Then I'd had to get warmed up again, and then get going, and then I'd come back after, and I'm freezing, gluing all my cuts up and trying to keep me warm and stuff, and I'm there shaking, adrenaline's going, and then I'm having to get up and get oiled up and warmed up again, and then come out and then pretend like I'm fresh, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Put on the game face.
It's hard. Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, I probably wouldn't do another 8-man tournament unless it was a very massive, considerable amount of money.
I was just gonna say.
The camp for it was very difficult. I mean, we simulated an 8-man tournament at the time. Liam Robinson was my coach. He had a few fighters doing 8-man tournaments, so he knew the process of how it went, and he'd been in one himself. So I'd go in, I'd do my run or whatever, and then we'd hit pads for a full set of pads. Then I'd stop and do nothing for 20 minutes. So they'd allow me to sit there and cool down, and then get warmed up again on my own for about 5-10 minutes, then hit pads again, and then cool down 20 minutes. So, and training session went on for like 3.5 hours, but it wasn't like a continuous session like in Thailand where you run and then you, whatever, you have a bit of a, you know, mess about, wrap your hands, you skip, and you know, you're always doing something, but it was just literally just sat, and it was like getting cold. And so it was a very tedious process.
Yeah. And that was over 3 hours. You did like a 3 hour kind of spell of doing that kind of ritual kind of thing.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of
still expecting you to peak at the end of your 3 hours.
Yeah, and then having to perform at the end, and then I still had to like do all my sparring and my clinch as well on top of that. But it made a massive difference. Like when I got to that last fight, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to get through it. As I got into the rounds, I started getting more of a rhythm, and that's when all that hard work kind of started to kick in. You know, like just that time when all the times where I pushed hard and stuff, and to push my cardio and my stamina and my endurance. Because really, we fight 50 minutes in a fight, you know what I mean? So we're not really built for that kind of long endurance stuff. Yeah, but it was hard. Well, yeah, I wouldn't do it, and I think it was something like 6,000 euros, but I thought it was 6,000 euros to the winner. It was like, and then we got there. He's like, no, it's split between all of you guys, and
oh no,
it worked out where I got something like. By the time I changed it to pounds, I think I got something like 1,200 quid for it.
And you're like, that was not worth that pain. I want this.
Well, so yeah, I was like, yeah, no, never again. I'm not doing it unless it's big money.
Absolutely, yeah. That's really interesting. I'm glad you talked us through the difference between a tournament, the fight camp, because I've been asking the other guys about their fight camps. So that's an interesting way. I think that, and also it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear from somebody as exceptional as yourself, that going into the last fight thinking, I can't do this, to know that there's like people achieving what you achieve, but still human, still not a robot, not a machine.
Everybody, there is one person on this planet who competes, who's at competition level, that doesn't have doubts in himself. No one. I mean, that's why we look up to them, because it's amazing, because we know how we think. We, like say someone who's not achieved much, it's very daunting, and you kind of almost defeat yourself before you've even tried to do something. But yeah, we all have doubts. I even have doubts now. I mean, whatever, almost 60, 70 fights in, and I still get nervous. I still think, oh, what if this guy who on paper is nowhere near my level, but knocks me out or does this, or do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure any fighter you speak, even Liam Harrison, I'm sure he has doubts at times. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyone at the high level, we all have our doubts,
And how do you overcome that, like psychologically? Do you just literally have faith in your training regime and your fight camp, and just think, do you argue with yourself in your mind? I mean, how do you go about, or do you just literally step in and just go through the process and try and blank it out?
The main thing for me is the only times I really have doubt in myself is when I know that I've not trained very well.
Right.
I haven't pushed myself, and I'm the only person who knows if I've trained hard or not.
Yes.
And it's been very rare when that's happened. I mean, the last time I felt like that was like 2012, maybe, or 2000, so a long time ago. But it was when my daughter had just been born, and all she did was just cry. All she was just crying. Anyway,
a crier.
Yeah. I mean, unless she was eating or sleeping, she was just crying all the time. Oh. And those were very, very short moments. But yeah, it was like, and I was doing a camp during that time, and it was a very difficult time because I wasn't performing well during training. But I still wanted to fight, because you kind of like that old school mentality where, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just get through it and all that.
Yeah.
But I still won. But that was that's the last time I remember ever feeling doubt. And now kind of I've got to the point now where I don't allow my ego to kind of like dictate how I feel. So I don't care if I lose. All I care is that I've trained 100%, like to the best of my ability, and then I fight to the best of my ability, and I leave nothing in there.
Well, that's it, and that's and that's what I try to instill in my fight. Every fight's an experience and an education, and as long as you do absolutely your best, as long as you get beaten by a better opponent, and not by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Then you've not lost anything. You've not lost. You've just learned some lessons and such like, and it's nice to. Is that not how you always thought? Then was there some ego in the past? Maybe is that something?
Oh no, I mean you always. I've always, you know, when you get into a fight, you always think you're going to win. But at some point, I came to the realization that I didn't really care if I lost. It didn't matter to me. That wasn't important anymore, because I feel with all the support that you get around you and all the social media hype and the build up for months and months and months of a fight, and you posting your videos of training, the promoters are doing all these promotional videos and stuff, and then all that pressure is on you, and you've got 100 odd people coming to watch you or whatever, you know, that bought tickets off you to come and watch.
And you're on one championship now as well, so worldwide.
Yeah. So you feel like you're letting down. You know what I mean? But it's but you know, you never. I mean, I have students that still feel that way. That feel that when they lose, they let their supporters down. And I said, of course not, man. They love you. They're there because they're there for you. You know, regardless of whether you win or not. You know, what they're proud of is the fact that you've gone through what you've gone through, and then you've turned up to fight. That's the main thing. But yeah, for me, it's no biggie. If I win, I win. Great. And if I lose, then on to the next one. I'm not what do you call it? I don't what's the word, babe? Dwell. That's it.
Well, go on. Our partners, they always. That's it. Yeah. Exactly the same. Good for you. You don't dwell on it. You don't.
Yeah, I'm not a dweller. So.
And do you think that's?
I'll feel disappointed sometimes, and I'll think, oh, I made this mistake, and this and this and this. But rather than kind of like put in all my energy in the negative bit that I've lost and whatever, I'll use that energy towards the positive to try and improve to the next and become better.
Sure, absolutely.
It's like there was a point in my career where I had a 22 win streak from like 2011 until about 3-4 years ago. I had 22 fights win streak all the way through, and I've won a few titles during then. And then and then my first fight that I lost after that was to Panicos, and I learned more of the Panicos fight and I've learned and improved more of that Panicos fight than I have over the last 10 fights before that.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not, and probably the turning point of my career was from when I fought a guy called Greg Wotton. I don't know if you know. Yeah.
Greg Wotton.
Greg Wotton. Yeah, from down south. We both had like about 10 fight win streak at the time, and then we fought down. I think it was London the O2. Yeah, the O2. Yeah. So O2. It was Master Skens. I think it was Master Skens' show. Yeah, and he just threw me around like a rag doll. You know when you think I had 10 fight win streak or something at the time, and I thought, yeah, I'm good, and I'm pretty good all rounder fighter. And he threw me around in the clinch like a rag doll. And after that, I mean, I was really, defeated, like mentally with it. After that, like I found Liam Robinson's gym, and then all I did was clinch. And now that's my main game is clinch. I love it. It's like
that's great.
Yeah.
That's it. So clinch is one of your favorite elements of the sport.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. And do you think the maturity in your thought processes regarding the fight and the win lose, it doesn't matter as long as I put my best into it. Do you think you've developed that, being able to settle with that mindset due to having already proven yourself to people? So you already have proven yourself that you have the skills and the ability, so it's easier for you to be able to settle with that mindset? Or do you think it's just maturing as a person, as a man, as a father and a husband or whatever? Do you think that's relevant? Do you think any of those, do you think your life has helped you settle with that, or is it simply just because of the success in the fighting?
Yeah, I think both those elements have a play in it, but it doesn't go to say that I'm not hungry and I don't want a world title. By the way.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me. I mean, it's weird because like I go through phases, so it's like you start and you do it for the love of it. Everybody that starts Thai boxing does it because they love it.
They certainly don't do it for the money.
Well, yeah, that's it. So it's like, so then it got to a phase where after a bit of doing a few fights and starting earning some decent money, it got to a point where the promoter would ring you up and say, oh yeah, do you want to fight such a person? And my first thing would be like, how much? You know what I mean? And it was like the money, and then it's like, and it takes away from from the love that you have for the sport.
The passion,
you know what I mean? Straight away, it's like, it's not about the passion, it's about the money. Because there was a point before that where I would fight anybody for nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't care what the price was, I'd fight. And then it became about money. And now it's kind of like come away from that now. Maybe because I have earned good money, so maybe that's why my thought process has changed. But I try and, I'm not saying that I don't want the money. I want the money. But
you want the money, you want the world title.
But yeah, I think now that that's kind of like set, and I get good financial stability from it, and it gives me the financial freedom to train and continue doing what I'm doing. So now I can kind of focus on loving what I'm doing again. I'm not doing it, I have to do it. I'm training and I'm fighting because I want to. I mean, I've toyed with the idea of, I've kind of like contemplated whether to retire for probably the last 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. I've been thinking about retiring, and I've kept saying to myself, yeah, maybe in a couple of years, and now I'm saying in a couple of years. But I've got to contact with, but I mean, I'm 35 now, but I love it. That's the thing.
Well, this is it.
I'm doing it because I have to do it. I love it. I love the process. That's what the main thing is for me, is I love the process, not necessarily in the fight. The fight's great, it's a bonus, but I love the process of having that 5 to 6 weeks where I'm, eating clean, and I'm detoxing, and I'm training hard, and I'm physically and mentally in a good place, and all I'm focusing is on nothing but myself. That's it. I love the process.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, if like when you're having a child, is so unbelievably life changing, isn't it? I mean, you can't. There's no words for it, is there? You just literally started an entire new life. Your other one stopped, and your new one starts. And I think, and keeping something for yourself. And your wife's obviously supports you immensely, and for you to have been able to carry on doing that, having 5 or 6 weeks to yourself where you've been able to put everything into it. I mean, that's psychologically, it helps you remain your own self, doesn't it? Help you keep a part of your original.
Well, I am very fortunate, really, that my wife's very supportive of my decisions and my constant changes of mind all the time. Whatever they say, I'm thinking of doing this. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll be like, no, I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, sure, that's fine if that's what you want to do. And but yeah, no, it is great. I think like being able to have, I found a great balance between teaching and running the gym and fighting, which I think is at the first stages I found very, very difficult, because and that's when Thai boxing became about money, fighting became about money, because if I was to step away from the gym and do all that money, I had to earn an equivalent amount to make up for it.
You need a really good coaching team behind you to fight at the same time. You've got to be able to leave your classes with some other people that you trust to run it for a couple of months each time, haven't you? So
for sure. So this is it. It's like I say, I mean, my wife pretty much manages the gym when I'm away a lot. And and then I've got a couple of instructors, Remy, who I don't know if you know Remy. He was about to open up his own gym just before the lockdown, and then for obviously unfortunate reasons out of his control, but he's still going to go ahead with it, which is great.
Everything's just put on hold, isn't it? Everything's put on hold. Exactly. You've just got to adapt, and we've all just got to adapt and follow patterns and see where we're going.
I have a good network of guys around me that do a good job of running the gym while I'm away. So
Yeah.
I have that ease of mind when I'm away. You know, I can chill and just focus on myself.
Absolutely. And so your gym is All Powers, isn't it? And it's in Stockport. That's right. Is that Stockport? I've got it right, haven't I? So who was your coaches then? Who coached you, or who trained you, and who do you train? Have you got any up and coming guys for us to look out for? I'm going to say guys. I mean guys and girls. I call everybody guys and dudes, including the women. So yeah, have you got any? So who's your coaches?
So my first ever coach was a guy called Giagos Christofi, who I don't know if you know Savas Michael. No, from one championship, fights in the stadiums.
I probably do. There's a lot of people that I see fighting, and I don't necessarily. Especially that one championship as well. I just on it all the time.
He's another Cypriot that trained from the same gym as me. We both came from Giagos's gym in Cyprus. It was called Lumpini Gym,
right.
And so we were there 5 years with him, and I fought amateur and won quite a few titles with him. And then I moved over to the UK, to England, just because I got sick of the weather here in Cyprus. So I thought I wanted to come more grey.
Oh yeah.
And it was. I started to master skins for a few months. And then moved on to about 4 months. And then I moved on to a guy called Paul Tite, who runs Stockport Thai Fighters at the time, which then about 5 years later, he retired and gave me the gym. And that's when I took over and then slowly started changed it over to All Powers Gym. And then during that process of him getting ready to go, I had to find another coach. So that's when I found Liam Robinson at the time.
Right.
And he had Danny McGowan. Some of your listeners will probably know, but yeah, he had a big stable of fighters, which were all like ranked top 5 in the country. And we had Dan McGowan, Macaulay Coyle, Ben Lucas, Sam Mogbe, loads. And then I fought there as well. And because we were all like top ranked fighters, the training was amazing. But it did mean that I had to travel down to Northampton 3-4 times a week to train. He was very kind to let me stay at his a few days sometimes. But yeah, it was just if I wanted to train with the best, then that meant that I had to travel. So then he passed, and that's when I kind of started contemplating whether to retire or not. I've been training at a place called Sidra Point, Thailand a lot.
Yeah.
The Diamond Twins, very, very, very good and technical guys. And now that I fight for one championship, I go over to I was going over to Revolution Gym, used to do something on, and I've got my teammate Ricky Sewell, who was also part of Liam Robinson's team. He was ranked in the top 3 as well when he used to fight. So he's kind of like he's my best friend, and we train together. So he only lives around the corner from me. So yeah, he coaches me.
So near, but yet so far in the lockdown. You know, the pads are right there, aren't they? You've got your pad man right round the corner, and he's I can't go and see you. That's hopefully gonna. I know
we've started now because I fight professionally.
That's right. Yeah, elite fighters are allowed back, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sportsmen.
So yeah, it's sorry, let me just stick this phone on silent.
That's all right.
What can you do?
So you started going back to you started when you were young. I believe you did karate, and then you did that for, was it 5 years? Have I got that right? You did karate for a while, and then you moved on to boxing.
So karate was only like maybe 4 or 5 months I did.
Oh, was it? Right, okay.
Yeah, but it was only on and off. I quickly got bored of it. I always wanted to do a martial art as I always wanted to get into fighting. I wanted to do some boxing and stuff, but it wasn't available to me at the time. There was a couple of gyms, but they were quite far from us. So I did karate, and I got bored of hitting the air and stuff. So, and I didn't have the patience to just wait and go through all the katas before I went to I think it was green belt or something. I can't remember what it was, so that I
Yeah.
could compete. And I didn't want to wait that long, so I just got bored of just doing katas and hitting the air. So not saying that karate isn't good.
No, no, yeah. Everybody should do one. Everybody should do one martial art or fighting sport. That's what I think. Anyone.
100%, yeah. And then I did nothing. I just did sports. I just did football, basketball, volleyball, tennis. I just love being outside and being active in that.
Yeah.
And then I found Thai boxing when I was 16 in 2000.
Right. In 2000. So what, been 20 years ago? So it was coming. It was certainly getting a bit more popular then, wasn't it? But it was still not. I mean, it's not mainstream now. I mean, to us, it's mainstream because it's our lives. But it wasn't anywhere near as well known. Obviously, back then it slightly.
I mean, people know, like when you say Thai boxing or Muay Thai, people know what it is straight away. Whereas at the time when I was doing it, I was doing it for 2 weeks. And I didn't know that it was Muay Thai. I never even heard of it. I thought it was kickboxing we were doing.
Yeah, that's right. It was much more kickboxer. My gym was a Thai and kickboxing gym, so it was. I think you kind of choose your path part way, don't you? I think a lot of us started many years ago, and it was a bit more kickboxing, kind of kickboxing orientated, and then there was kind of like a bit of a divide, wasn't there, where you could go two ways, I think, as Muay Thai became a little bit more publicized, so to speak. I think for me, I don't think I even realized that I was going more down the Muay Thai track, with the coaching as well, especially. I was training with Muay Thai coaches more than kickboxing coaches. I think that's how it ended up, and now then you end up, I don't know, just in the world of Muay Thai. But so back in, who inspired you then? Was it literally just you stumbled across it? Was it literally just another martial art where you can do strikes actually on the pads and onto people? Is that all it was? There was no like.
I just seen a guy. I joined the gym to do some weights. It was during school, summer holidays, and there was the guy that said my first coach he used to rent the studio to teach in there, and he was blaring out that really whiny music, and I was thinking, what is that? Anyway, and he was hitting the bag, so I thought it was like because it reminded me of kickboxer at the time, Van Damme.
Yeah, that's the
one. I want to be doing that, and so I spoke to him, and he said, yeah, sure, come and join us and stuff, and then I was hooked. As soon as I did that, I quit all the basketball team, the football team. I stopped playing volleyball and tennis. I just did that. That's all I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was proper engrossed in it.
I think it is. It becomes. You're not going to be doing it long before it becomes part of your life, doesn't it? I think. I can't imagine not being involved in Thai boxing in some capacity. I can imagine not doing it. I mean, you were saying about retiring. I'm doing. Andy Housen said he'll do an interview with me, which is really cool. And you said you wanted to retire, but then you could change your mind. I mean, Andy Housen retired, and then he's decided to not retire anymore, and come out of retirement at 40, and he's back on it and training his ass off and stuff. You can't. I unbelievably respect people. I mean, I'm so out of shape these days, comparably, and I'm a little bit older than Andy. Quite a lot older than you, Panicos, but in the same breath, at 35, started, because I had my daughter late at 36. It's not just that, but anybody who can sustain the fitness through all those years, as well as coaching, but then also decide to come back in and get fight camp ready for a one championship fight, at 40, that to me is really inspiring.
The thing is, if you notice now, there's fighters that there are a lot older fighters now than there has been in the past, because the science has has changed everything for us. You know, people are training smarter, maybe a bit too much using the science where they rest a bit more than they need to. But and they need that, sometimes they need that old school mentality to get up and, you know, get a kick up the ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, people train a lot smarter now. You know, the nutrition's different. You know, your recovery is different. So you know how to train and stuff. It's not all about kill. You know, you twist your ankle and then you carry on, or say you do your knee or something. You know, you cause damage to your knee, and you know.
Yeah, and the scoring.
Physios are accessible, so, you know, easily accessible. You know, nutritionists are accessible. You know, you've got everything around you, so you've got a good network. Most fighters have a good network of people around to maintain a good balance. You know, in your fight.
And also maybe like a better understanding of rules, perhaps, and more and scoring should I say, and maybe like a more even though scoring's a nightmare, depending on, you know, everybody's had fights or fighters that have lost fights that you think they should have won, this and the other. But I think there is maybe getting a little bit more consistency in this, in, you know, which shows to go on and how they score and such like. So it is probably more feasible to be technical, isn't it, rather than, you know. So with the aging, you know how to. You know how to score, you've got all the experience of knowing how to score well, and your opponent and such like, and being able to play to the judges and such like, and perhaps with a more kind of, with a belief that you actually know that what you're doing is working for those judges, then that does allow you perhaps to be able to execute more wins with technique over
going 100 mile an hour, you know, swinging.
Yeah, exactly. You've just got to make this point score, haven't you? Yeah. So that might be it. I mean, you've got all fit as butcher's dog anyway. You know, run rings around any 19, 20-year-olds. But yeah, it's inspiring, to be honest. And but yeah, when you've got a few years to go, yeah, I mean, I don't be retiring yet, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
You'll see. I mean, my wife's like, you better find something to do after you retire, because she knows I'm going to be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I paint. Do painting.
Well, like I did think about like doing. I always said like I'll try a half Ironman, and then I did.
Yeah.
I got roped into doing a duathlon a few years ago. And it was one of the hardest things I've done. It was horrible.
What was that? Sorry, what?
A duathlon.
A duathlon.
Duathlon. So without the swim, so run and cycle, and it was like I hadn't trained for it. My really close friend of mine, Jamie, we met up for dinner over Christmas, and he was like, "Oh, I signed up to this duathlon," and he's like, "It's 10K run, 26K cycle, and a 6K run at the end." And I was like, that's nothing, you know, like being a typical Thai boxer. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. And he's like, are you up for it then? I was like, yeah, sure. And thinking he wouldn't sign me up. And so then the next day he sends me an email with my number and my confirmation and everything, all paid for. And I was like, right, I've got to do it. So during the whole thing, I did a couple of 5K runs, one 10K cycle, but hardly hard anyway. And it was in Grisdale Forest at the lakes. It was so hard. Wow. So I did the 10K. There's about 150 people did the 10K, and I came within the first 20 people because I was like pushing, thinking, I can do 10K, it's nothing. But I didn't realize that a lot of the people behind me were experienced and were holding back. And so I got onto the bike, and about 6 miles in, I started cramping on my quad. So I'd straighten my legs. I bend my leg to really, you know, get rid of the cramp, and then my hamstrings would cramp. And I couldn't stand or sit. It was horrible. So I ended up lying on the side of the path while massaging my legs, you know, keeping them up on the rock. And it was horrible. And it started raining. I was wet. It was freezing, and all I had was a couple of those, you know, those gel capsule things. And and it was a rotation. So you did the 10K, came back to the same spot, took your bike, did 26K, came back, and then it was a 6K run at the end. And the 6K took me an hour and 20 minutes because my legs would physically not, I couldn't physically run. I was trying, like, and there was no point I ever thought I wanted to stop. But I was trying, like, I was really trying because I was bored more than anything. I just couldn't physically move my legs. And it just made me realize that, you know, like, and have more respect for the long, you know, the endurance stuff.
Yeah,
you know? So that's like the guys like, you know, boxing and they're doing 12 rounds. That's a lot of rounds, you know.
12
You
rounds.
have fitness, but it's endurance. It's not, you might be good for 6 rounds, but after that, it's endurance.
Absolutely.
So I have more respect for it. So yeah, I don't think I'll be doing an Ironman. Maybe something else.
Maybe something else for your retirement. It's, I think
that's about 15 minutes or less.
Yeah, but not. That's it. But not yet though, Panicos. Not let's see you do some more first. Some more Thai. But right, okay. Listen, we'll. I think you've brought some really interesting kind of points there, especially into it with the 8-man tournament and like a lot of mindset stuff. I think people will be interested in the. You're traveling. I've had like, I don't have many fighters at my gym. Because I'm quite strict really about who I put in, and plus we've got quite it's not just fighters gym. I want everybody to be able to train, but when we do have fighters, they're good. And but they do get to, some of these younger, we're talking about old school thought processes and stuff like that. I can suggest driving down the road for an hour to another gym to spar with some other people. Oh, it's too far, that, Rach. It's too far, that. It's like, it's not really though, is it? If you've got if you're on your next big show, your first B-class fight, you should probably be driving as long as you need to go and spar with some extra people.
But that comes down to the person. This is like what I've said about when pricing as well. So like that driving, so time and pricing, really, it's what people are willing, what they think their health and their progression and growth is worth.
Yeah, exactly.
If I say, for example, if I charge £40 a private, but somebody doesn't want to train with me for £40, but will train with somebody else for £20, well, that's what you deem your. Okay, I understand it. It could be a financial reason. It's not necessarily thinking,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's like they'd rather pay the less money than pay 40 quid, and it just makes me think, well, if that's what you think you're worth.
Well, that's it. And I think there's the same thing. It's about, to me, that's the difference between somebody who's going to be really successful within their sport. And again, with money and stuff, but you would always, especially with a fighter, for me, I would, if there was a money issue, you try and help them out a bit, with the finances, with that. But again, it's that attitude that as soon as somebody goes, it's too far, that, and you're like, you're only going to be a B-class fighter. You're never going to be more than a B-class fighter if you're only willing to
travel. If you're only willing to travel 15 minutes down the road as opposed to 2 hours down the road, but then but you will progress so much faster and you become much better and get a lot more experience. Then it's what that person or fighter is willing. It's what they're willing to do to get to where they get.
And as a coach, if you're willing and able, you will help them financially if you need to.
Yeah, of course.
You need that. Yeah. So again, it's that when
then it goes unappreciated.
Yeah.
Then you still do it again.
Well, let's not get into that, Panicos, because otherwise we'll be ranting on about it. I'll rant on about it for about 12 hours, but let's keep it positive, shall we? We'll turn it off and we'll talk about that in a minute. So we'll wrap it up. I've always got some stupid questions that I ask at the end, okay? And some of them are really goddamn stupid, I have to say. But this isn't particularly stupid. This is more of a lockdown question. What go-to exercise? So at the moment we still really can't do pads yet. You, Liam, and Andy and such like, and the elite, the elites were allowed back. So if you were to advise the Thai boxers of the students and the learners, what's your go-to exercise? So you can't do pads. What one thing would you do in the lockdown to the exercise that you had to do to keep going and keep fit?
Probably running I get bored of. So I mean, when lockdown happened, I was just doing a lot of circuit type training. Like brought a lot of weights home and stuff, which because from the gym. So I did a lot of that, a lot of circuit training, a lot of resistance training, and then I got bored of that. So I started going to the gym and doing some bag work. And then I got bored of that.
Yeah.
And then luckily, the first stage kind of of us being able to go back and hit pads, the last week and bit. So that's been like the best thing for me.
But if you need one exercise though, some people, Chris Shaw said shadow boxing. This is like if you had to pick one, it was death or one thing. It's like you don't like to do anything else. So we've had a few burpees, we've had some shadow boxing.
This is funny because I was talking to Ricky, who holds pads for me, and I was saying to him, if I was to ever choose just one thing to do, it would be pads, because for me that's like the best thing to do.
It is. You can't do pads. You're not allowed.
My second thing would be, it would probably be
for fitness and
between running and shadow boxing. I suppose I'd say running.
Running, yeah. We've had 3 burpees. We've had 3 burpees, which which we all hate burpees, but they were like, well, they're good. They're good for your muscles, and you're strengthening and you're stamping her and all that. And with Chris Shaw was all over the shadow boxing. He's like shadow boxing all day long. We watched I shared your shadow boxing seminar, by the way. I thought that was really good.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna do one myself, and I was like, and I saw yours. I'm like, I don't need to. Just do what Panicos says. There's no point in me doing one. There's his will be. So we're going running. We're picking running for your go-to exercise.
Yeah, I'll go with running.
Okay then, right. Okay, quick fire round. Guilty pleasure.
I don't really have one. I don't really.
Yeah, your wife's gonna shout in. She's gonna shout in.
I don't really have things I'm guilty about.
Guilty pleasure. So you don't eat. You're not gonna sneak a little thing for chocolate or rum or.
I mean, I eat a lot of chocolate. I eat a lot of food.
You just don't feel guilty about it.
Guilty. Yeah, no, I haven't got anything that I'm.
I'll ask your wife. I'll shout and she'll tell me.
A lot of cheesy songs. I like cheesy songs.
Cheesy songs. 80 cheesy songs. We'll take that. Bit of George Michael.
I'm a bit old school because I listen to a lot of like 50s and 60s and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, don't blame you. Yeah, sounds.
And stuff.
And
like,
Wham.
I started learning guitar over lockdown, and that's all I'm playing is like all the old stuff, and I just love it.
Okay, I like that. I like the guilty pleasure 80s tunes. That's all right. I don't think you should feel guilty about that. I think that's all right. Right, this is a really stupid question, and you have to answer it spontaneously, as fast as you can. Okay. Right, if you could take any food into the ring as a weapon, what would it be? Go.
An old baguette.
An old baguette. So everybody does so well on this if I don't give anybody a chance. Evan Barlow said she was going to use a courgette, which I was like, what would you use? I said, what are you going to do? Like, I guess you're going to like whack them with the courgette. I mean, with the baguettes.
Well, with the baguette, if it's old, it gets really hard.
It does indeed.
Then the edge is quite hard, I think.
Oh yeah. If you're quite proddy, you could prod, couldn't you?
If somebody's throat was that, it'll be.
Oh, yeah. Right, brilliant. Okay.
People you hear saying that you're jamming a baguette in somebody's throat while smiling.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it could be quite rubby, couldn't it? Like crispy, rub a little bit on the neck there. That would get a bit sore and chafy, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Right. Okay. We've been doing kiss, marry, and roundhouse kick. Have you played? You know that game where kiss, marry, kill. It's usually kiss, marry, kill, but I've changed it to roundhouse kick. Now, I was just saying to you before. I usually do a little bit of background research on people's like social media to find out what TV programs they like and find out a little bit about their so I can pick some good ones. However, you're a man of mystery, Panicos, so I've just gone for some random. I've just changed one part way because you mentioned tennis. So yeah, I also saw. So I've just gone for some random people that you will definitely know. And we've got Kiss, Murray, Roundhouse Kick, and you're married, so don't worry, we don't do serious ones on this. We've got Andy Murray, Jeremy Corbyn, and Declan Donnelly.
Oh, do you mean pick one of them?
Yeah, you're the Kiss one, Murray one, and Roundhouse Kick another.
I recognise the names. I can't picture them.
Ah, this is it. You're a man of mystery. All you do is Thai boxing. It's just a constant Thai boxing.
Yeah, a bit. I've got students. I've got students that I've had for 8 months, and I still call them mate because they don't know names.
Right.
So,
Andy Murray, tennis player.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Andy Murray.
Yeah. That's the only one I know. Yeah.
Jeremy Corbyn. You're a legend if you don't know Jeremy Corbyn. I am just worship you for just having much better things to do with your life. And then Declan Donnelly. That was just totally random. I was thinking of things that my daughter likes at 7, and your daughter is 8.
Who's the last guy?
Declan Donnelly. He's one of the, like Anton Deck.
Yeah.
My daughter really likes Britain's Got Talent at the moment, so I thought maybe that you would have to watch that as well if you have an 8-year-old. So Declan Donnelly is one of Anton Deck. I don't suppose it even matters which one.
Oh, the guy who does like the after stuff, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's funny, and yeah. No, it's not. My wife said no, it's not. Because we discussed.
There's the two. I don't know the difference between.
No, okay. We don't know. I think. Ant's the one with the bigger forehead.
Yes. Okay.
So we'll go. Declan's the other one.
Okay. Let's go. So, and
the roundhouse kick is the easy one.
Roundhouse kick. Right. I'll do the Kiss first. I'll kiss Andy Murray. No, marry Andy Murray. Kiss Jeremy Corbyn. Kick
Declan Donnelly.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll take that. I wish I could have thought of better ones, mate, but you're a man of mystery now. I think that's probably a good thing to be these days, for sure. Hey, listen, buddy, thank you so very much for chatting with me. It's been really good fun, thank you, and really insightful as well. And is there anybody you want to mention, your sponsors, Tanko? You fight for Tanko, don't you, and on championship?
So Tanko is a company that I started with a friend of mine, and we did some promoting and stuff, and it's kind of had put a brakes on it just because we're all so busy, and there's a lot of time to invest in it. So we're I'm sure it's going to come back again at some point, but at the moment I want to focus on fighting and So yeah, but yeah, I mean, One CBD UK, one of my sponsors, my main sponsors, My Protein, do a paid partnership with them, and Tanko, of course.
Well,
so yes, thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, no worries, Panicos. Thanks so much, mate. It's been really nice to chat to you. I've never chatted to you before, and been really interesting. Love it. Thank you. So hopefully everybody else will find that super interesting as well, and hopefully see you again soon. Okay, pal. See you later, Panicos. Bye, everybody. See everybody. Bye.